As you guys probably know, I meet a lot of wrestlers, and with that you get things signed like t-shirts and 8x10s and figures. I used to collect a lot of figures back in the day as a kid. I would always open them and then use them for YouTube because I used to do stop motion and animation, all that kind of stuff. As I had started to collect figures and left them in the box, that's when I slowly just stopped. I wasn't that interested in buying figures anymore, and also that can get kind of expensive. We're talking like what, $20, $24 for like an elite figure. But with that said, I would get figures signed by wrestlers sometimes. So in this video, I just kind of want to show you guys all the wrestling figures I have signed so far. Also, this is kind of like a plug for a vlog on Saturday. On Saturday, it's going to be the second day of the NCW Shane Shamrock Cup, which is basically like this really big tournament for MCW Pro Wrestling. It's up in Joplin, Maryland. It's kind of like their biggest show of the year, like their WrestleMania or their SummerSlam. So I'm actually going to get this signed. I know you're thinking like, what? How? Papa Shango's going to be there. I think it's like a 2-day tournament. So like the first day he goes as Papa Shango, the next day he goes as Charles Wright or the Godfather. Hopefully he can still sign this as Papa Shango, but you know, we'll see. And with that, this is my autographed WWE figures collection. First up, this actually kind of almost doesn't count anymore, only because the autograph actually kind of got wiped off, which is really disappointing. But I met him at WrestleMania 29 it was at the Superstore. He signed like 4 or 5 things for me, which is really nice of him. I live in DC, by the way, so when I moved up to DC from Virginia Beach, as things were getting moved, things got touched with fingers and then it kind of got wiped off. It happens. But it was Zack Ryder. Still kind of see the first part of his autograph. You can't see the rest because, you know, fingers got touching. Next up, I actually got this signed last year at MCW Tribute to the Legends, which is basically like a really big convention, which also this year, they're bringing Goldberg. I'm gonna meet Goldberg in September. That's gonna be lit. But it was Bret Hart. This is a 1997 defining moments. Bret Hart that actually got him to sign. Really nice guy, honestly. And he also signed these sunglasses. Also a defining moments figure is actually Ric Flair. Now I talked about Ric Flair. I made my top 5 worst wrestlers I ever met video. He didn't even acknowledge me as a human being. I probably should have just paid for autograph and not a picture, because he wasn't even looking in the picture. He was actually looking this way in the picture too. So I respect Ric Flair. My experience meeting him was not the best. But this is the defining moments figure of Ric Flair. You can also see the World Heavyweight title or WCW title right there. I got this signed at Ringside Fest 2012. It's actually a white Sin Cara figure. Now this is the actual Sin Cara, not Hunico now in WWE. This is like Mystico Sin Cara. I was like, hola amigo. He said something, I don't speak Spanish or take French, nor to not teach me that much. Don't lie and act like you didn't watch it and learn something in Spanish. Come on, we all did. I didn't get this signed. I just thought it was such a cool figure. And also this guy is from DC, so like that's my boy. It's actually a blue Tista. I just really wanted to show this because I thought it was really cool. Before I really got into women's wrestling, because I thought it was really boring at first. I wasn't that big of a fan of like the Kelly Kellys and Rhea Kanellis. As people, when I met them, they're really nice. Her alongside AJ Lee, they actually made me like women's wrestling and in the ring action, not just because, oh, they're hot. And that's actually Caitlyn. I've met Caitlyn 2 or 3 times. It was actually the last time she ever did a signing like as a wrestler or as like a former WWE superstar. I think she still does them now at like fitness expos, so you can still meet her, still get stuff signed by her, but it's not like she's brought in as like a wrestler or a former wrestler. And right there, she put 2 Malcolm and then put Caitlyn right there. Her, AJ Lee, the reason I actually like women's wrestling again. Before that, actually, Eve Torres was really good. They didn't seem all that to me. Now, there's a few individuals that are alright, like Michelle McCool, Melina, Beth Phoenix, and Talia. Besides them, wasn't a fan. Next up, she actually is the person that gave me this shirt, which is signed by literally almost every wrestler you can probably think of. And that's actually Alicia Fox. And I actually like the fact that she actually signed the cardboard of it and not the actual figure, so you can still look at the figure and the picture and also have the autograph right up there. This is actually something I got signed last week. Now, I had this figure like in storage and I didn't even realize that I even had this figure. I think I bought it one year I went to Ringside Fest. I just literally had no idea that I had this thing. That's actually a Ringside Fest exclusive, CM Punk. So you got CM Punk with the ECW title, signed it right there. And there's also a vlog of it that was maybe 2, 3, 4 videos ago. So check that out if you actually want to see CM Punk actually signed it in person. And I also asked him about Conor McGregor versus Mayweather, so see what he says. Next up, former Intercontinental Champion, leader of the Core, the greatest wrestling faction of all time. He was also that British guy in Nexus. It was, Wade Barrett. I actually got Barrett to sign this at a Baltimore Auto Show, and this was at the time he was still Intercontinental Champion, so he let me hold the belt. Man, that belt was a lot heavier than I thought. I almost dropped it. The detail on the figure itself is actually really good. I don't know about those eyebrows though. Wade Barrett kind of looks like that guy off The Nanny. I think it's actually probably the prettiest autograph on a wrestling figure I actually have. Also got this a couple weeks ago at AwesomeCon in DC, and it's actually Jerry the King Lawler. The color contrast from like the gold and red and then to the blue of the Sharpie, it looks so pretty. I only have about 3 more including this, but this is actually Rey Mysterio. But there you go, it's Rey Mysterio. He signed it in silver. Also because like the red and blue, I just really like the figure in general. Full autograph from Mr. 619 himself. He also put 619, I believe, right there. Final 2, I actually got this signed at WrestleMania Access, and that was actually Mr. Y2J. This is also a Ringside exclusive of Chris Jericho from back in the day. I believe this is WrestleMania 19 attire. There you go, Chris Jericho Y2J right there. I'm not a figure guy, but if I had to pick one of my favorite ones, it'd probably be this, and not because it got signed, just because the detail is great. I don't know why I saved this for last. This is also probably the newest wrestling figure I have, and I actually bought a case, that way it wouldn't get hurt. And it's Bayley. So I met Bayley back at Ringside Fest of 2016. It was her, Daniel Bryan, Finn Balor, who I didn't meet, which I don't know why, honestly, and Sasha Banks. Now this is from TakeOver Brooklyn. You can tell by all the detail going on with Bayley, the facial expressions, even like, what's it called, eyeshadow and whatnot, and the dusty wrist tape and everything. It all looks pretty perfect. And then that's her autograph right there. So yeah, it's Bayley. So yeah, guys, that's the video. Hope you really enjoyed. So these are just some of the wrestling figures I have signed. I don't usually get figures signed. I always get the t-shirts signed or 8x10s. Because to me, what's more important is probably the picture with the wrestler, not necessarily the autograph. In the comments down below, tell me your favorite wrestling figure you've ever had signed, if you had one. And if you don't, put down in the comments, Punk's Pepsi tattoo. Make sure to like, comment, share, and always subscribe. And we outie.